All right. Welcome everybody to a session of Daily Mortgage Rate, the Mortgage Calculator. Today we'll be going over our VA mortgage options, just a little more detail. We can break out an actual example as we typically. So we'll just give it a second here while we go live on all the different platforms, and then we'll get into our rates for all our different programs, and then our specific example for our VA loans. So thanks everybody for joining us. If you have any questions or would like to get a full quote, one of our loan officers, we have over 400 loan officers in about 35 states. So please feel free to drop your info or reach out to our website. We'd be happy to get you an actual custom quote based on what you need. But it looks like we are live on the different platforms here. So we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone. My name is Nick Hershey. I'm the president. We are a lender that offers all kinds of different programs. So obviously all the conventional, FHA, VA, non of our specialties. We'll go over all of that here in a minute. Today's topic is going to be a deep dive on our VA mortgage loan option. So I have 3 actual examples with an actual property, so we can go over an actual use case, what our customers might be interested in. So let me go ahead and start as usual and switch here. And usually what we pull up here is the 10-year treasury. That's typically the most easy to follow metric we can use to look at rates. So you see here over the last week, it's been steadily climbing, but today, some good news. We have decline there. And to put it all into as I like to do, we are still basically at a 1-year low. So definitely great news for everybody out there shopping. This is a great time. So now let's get into today's live rates. Let me go ahead and refresh the page just to make sure I have the latest rates. So this will have all our different options from all our different partners for a basic scenario. And the rates are just updated. It's just after 12 noon Eastern. So all of our partners are live. And as you notice, it actually just dropped a touch just when we. So this will compare a standard example, single family home, a 500,000 purchase, corresponds to 60% loan to value, 760 FICO score, 40% debt to income. That way we can compare all the programs side by side with the same exact. So first up here, we always go over our conventional options, standard conventional for a primary home. But when you think of a mortgage loan, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac loans today is low as 5.875. Final APR comes in at 5. And we'll typically, for most borrowers, compare that to an FHA option. FHA allows a little more leniency issues and a little bit higher overall debt to income ratio. And FHA comes in today at 5.375 rate, and the final APR 6.26. Final APR is a little bit higher than conventional. That is because upfront and yearly mortgage insurance. So that's where you see the difference there, even though the rate looks lower. So definitely always compare that. And our topic for today, and one of our favorite options, are VA loans for our eligible active service members and surviving spouses in some cases as well. So our VA programs are amazing. Coming in today for our standard VA 30-year fixed at 5.49 rate. Final APR 5.720. VA funding fee, but not the mortgage insurance that is required for FHA. So even though the rate is higher, you see the APR is actually much lower for our eligible vets and active service. Definitely a great option. If you are eligible, always look at those VA options. And another option to compare, a standard option here, USDA for properties in US areas. It's typically the rural areas of the country. And for our borrowers that are eligible for those programs, these are pretty amazing as well. Rates come in today 5.125, final APR 5.814, fees included for USDA. And we'll typically compare that to FHA or conventional for our borrowers that are eligible and shopping in those areas. So definitely always look at USDA if you are in those areas. And some of our specialties here are non-QM programs. So those allow us to use alternative documentation, such as bank statements, 1099s, P&L statements, etc. So these are for our self-employed borrowers. And rates today coming in low as 5, final APR 6.145. So we'll typically compare that to a conventional option for our self-employed borrowers if they need to use alternative documentation. Almost the same exact cost here, same rate. The APR, the final cost, is just a touch higher. So definitely a great option for borrowers out there that need to use those programs. And we can use our non-QM alt doc programs for investment properties, of course. And rates come in today as low as 6%, final APR 6.1. And we'll need to compare are conventional options for investment property. So conventional comes in today at rates percent, final APR 6.311. So conventional is just a touch cheaper than using alternative documentations for investment properties as well. So example there for our self-employed borrowers. Now our specialty here at the Mortgage Calculator, DSCR stands for Debt Service Coverage Ratio, one of our favorite loan programs because we don't employment or income information. We simply use the estimated rents from the rental property in this case to determine a DSCR ratio. So if the rents can cover the expenses, that is a DSCR 1, which is what we use for these examples. And our standard example always has a 3-year prepayment penalty, which is standard for these investor loans. And rates come in today as low as 6%. IPR 6.284. So you see it's actually a touch cheaper than conventional, even at the same rate, because we're able to add that 3-year prepayment penalty to lower some of the costs. Amazing option when our DSCR comes in lower than conventional. And we can add a 5-year prepayment penalty to improve the cost and the rate in this case. So rates for a 5-year prepayment penalty programs come in at 5.875, IPR 6.157, so lower than the 3-year and conventional and alt doc. So options for DSCR. And I won't get into the other options today. Obviously, we have tons of other programs. If you're ever interested, just go to our website. But I want to get into our for today, which is going to be for our VA loans. I have 3 specific examples to go over here. So VA, obviously a great to use. And I chose a property. So this property happens to be for sale by owner. So not the best picture, but still a great property. Obviously, we still love to qualify our any type of property. Typically, they have it, but they don't have to, right? So this is a good example that I'm going to use because we're going to offer 2 purchase scenarios as well as a refinance scenario. So in this, consider our purchase borrower is VA eligible. And if this property is owned currently by the owner that's putting it for sale, maybe they could look to this option that we're about to propose. So first up for this actual scenario, for an actual home here in the area, our standard VA 100% loan to value, 0% down. So our eligible vets and active service members obviously get the great benefit of 100% loan to value, 0% down payment required. And if you can get some realtor credits and such, you can even keep all closing costs included. It's a pretty amazing program. Rates today come in as low as 5.35. And the lowest cost option was actually a little bit of lender credit here, coming in at 6.375 rate. So a couple different options here to either buy it down or actually take a little bit of credit to cover any of those costs. And again, this is an actual scenario, $660,000 purchase price, $660,000 loan amount. You can see the property here, insurance estimate, etc. But also there is a VA funding fee that can be financed, so the actual final loan amount is going to end up a little higher than 100% LTV. These VA options, unless our borrower has a disability, which does sometimes allow us to exclude the funding fee. So the option here is pretty amazing. We can actually purchase the same home. As notice in this example, we use a 740 FICO, which is what we use for those demos. But in this example, I actually changed the so we were still able, with some of our partners here that want to help out our VA borrowers, still allow 100% LTV for FICOs as low as 500. I use in this scenario just to be safe, and still allow us to use the 100% benefit of VA for 0% down. Notice the rates are higher. The rate option I could choose today was 6.5% rate for 2.276 discount points and costs. And the lowest cost option here was 7.37 for a cost of 0.901. So obviously with the lower FICO, the rates and costs went up, but it's still amazing that we have options for our borrowers there. So you see here, everything is standard, and you see we did use the 520 FICO score here. Now, the final example, again, is if our borrower was actually the owner of this property, and maybe instead of having to sell, they wanted to just get some cash out for whatever needs they may have. And in that case, go up to 100% loan to value for our VA cash out, which is pretty amazing. Again, there are options that do allow us to push up to that. Our options, not all of them, but some. So this is pretty amazing here. And again, we see a little bit of higher rates and costs, obviously, for just doing a rate and term or a EARL, as they call them, for a program. Much lower rates, but our typical request is for a borrower that wants to get cash out and push it to the max. And this is the maximum amount, so 6% rate, cost of 2.655. And we have a 6.5 rate, a little bit lower cost, 2.405. But this is, again, an amazing option. There are only a couple programs that allow us, a couple partners, I should say, that do allow us to go up to the 100%, which is pretty amazing. And you see here, we do have to stay under 100% total. So I did actually a 98, so that include the funding fee, actually 97%, so it include the funding fee. But you get the point there. Once we get the final loan amount, we can go up to 100% of the value. So I could push it up another couple thousand if I wanted to set the numbers up there. So pretty amazing options for our borrowers that are VA eligible. Definitely wanted to show the extremes there, the standard, low FICO, and the extremely high cash out loan to value, which is still possible with our VA loans. So that closes up the for today. Again, if you have any questions or want to get your own loan scenario, please get with any of our team members. We have our 400 licensed loan officers, licensed in 35 states. Obviously, these VA loans that you just saw, as well as loans and programs that you saw on our website. So thanks everybody for joining us, and good luck out there if you're house hunting. It is time to purchase.